Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. We are talking about restaurants, the ever-changing restaurant business here in Nashville. Happy to have with us Randy Rayburn. He is the consultant with Music City Hospitality Consulting right now, but you own Midtown Café and so many other restaurants you've opened in your time here in Nashville. And so that's what we can talk about. I have some other questions. We're going to go to the phones. Let's just go to the phones. Let's go to Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
So I keyed up on the subject of conversation, which was restaurants closing their doors, and it's funny that what's his name was bringing up the fact is Nashville a tourist town or a foodie town, and the fact is all that perception is what's closing the doors. Because if you're looking at it as a tourist town and you're looking at sustaining a business and you decide to open a theme restaurant, now at the end of the day your tourists are going to come in, they're going to enjoy a meal or not and then leave, and then you're not going to sustain income from that person coming in, dropping money and leaving just from a review. But what you will sustain is the locals becoming a foodie restaurant, becoming that thing that people want to come back to and eat again. And the only way that you can do that is, the biggest problem I see in restaurants is people trying to cheap their kitchen. Sure, your servers are out there making whatever amount of money, but you're trying to undercut this guy $1 to hire him, to get him to come back here and train and maybe be good. Or you could pay another couple dollars and hire a good person that you would actually enjoy the job and push the restaurant and make that local customer want to come back again.
Okay.
So it's not the front of house service, it's the back of house atmosphere that pushes the restaurant.
All right, well, let's talk about, I think he knows something about restaurants. And I think there are two questions there about tourism versus local, and then the front of the house versus the back of the house. But take whatever you want out of that.
I think Scott is on point in the fact that, Ben, that's the rhythm section. It's the heart and soul of the restaurant. If the food's no good, if the people cooking the food don't care, nothing can make it any better. You have to take care of your team. My chef has been with me 17 years at Midtown Café. My sous chef started with me in 2000 as a dishwasher. My general manager in the front of the house, 27 years, and Gina, the bar manager, 21. And Dale's been with me since 1989 as a server. Yes, the servers do make more, which is one of the reasons I paid more last year automatically without them asking, to give them a raise so they wouldn't be poached. Because if the kitchen isn't happy, the biggest restaurant I can cook for by myself is too small. Now, I went to Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, after working at Gaylord, and it gave me some great experiences, and I didn't complete the program, but I was able to grow. But I learned you got to take care of your people or they don't stick around. And the restaurant, and I learned that I wasn't fit to be a chain restaurant manager or operator because it has no soul. I love serving my friends that I meet in Nashville, and local restaurants, most of all of which have been there, but have attracted out-of-towners because people brought people to Sunset Grill or other places through the years, or Midtown Café, because frankly, a number of hotels have grown up on West End and Broadway area since I bought it 25 years ago. I loved it so much I bought it. But I've got, I've got another lead saute person who's been with me 11 years. I've got people long-term in the pantry. It's a hard physical blue-collar job. I mean, I had a 24-year prep person, Pompey, at Sunset Grill. I've got a book coming out for our 35th anniversary coming up of Midtown Café, which I bought 25 years ago. But we're celebrating that because it has survived because the locals embrace it and enjoy coming to it.
I feel like that is a local restaurant. Midtown Café, now it is surrounded, I guess, now by all this tourism, but Midtown Café has been around so long, and that, I feel like, is... Would you say it's more for tourists or locals, or what would you say?
I say, without the locals, we wouldn't still be here. Because year in and year out, month in, month out, the cycles come and go when tourism comes and goes. Right. But if the locals don't like you, he's right. You're not going to make it long term. It's just that simple. But part of it is where you're located, Scott. But he is ultimately right that if the kitchen crew doesn't care about what they're doing and whom they're working with, you can taste the difference.
And how unusual is it to have people that have been at a restaurant as long as what you're talking about there with Midtown?
Well, good people can find a job anywhere. And if you don't take care of the good people, they'll let you know by voting with their feet and going up the street, as we talked about. But as Scott addressed, paying more is what I'm one of the few people that have a full house of staff. That's just, I'm thrilled. I'm open every shift that I want to be open, and I got a full crew and haven't had to hire anybody in a while and don't want to hire anybody, because if they don't care, and you can't tell from a resume what somebody can do, and everybody interviews well. But what's the reality of that? You know, the people who've been with me, they're the ones that decide whether they're good workers or not. Jim, who's been with me 14 years, who's a day manager and bartender. John Woodard, who returned, who worked for me at Sunset Grill, and there was a manager at Midtown where he met his wife, who was the bartender, and then left and went into a different industry and came back last summer because we have a nice clientele, local clientele, that pay good money, they want good food, and they demand it and accept it, and they tip well. But the tourists come there because hotels have grown up around us. But if you're in Donaldson or if you're in Bellevue, you don't really deal with the tourism that much, other than unless people are staying with friends in those places. And that's the part of Nashville. You've got the core, you've got the middle ring, and then you've got the surrounding part of the county, and then you've got the surrounding counties. And though all of these areas have grown in the number of restaurant seats in the last, well, in my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, since the days of Shoney's, you know, when I got here in 1971, when Shoney's and Ray Danner were king.
I used to go to Shoney's, absolutely.
Yeah, we all did.
Well, let's go to Sherry on the line here. Hello, Sherry.
Yeah, hi.
Go right ahead. What's on your mind, Sherry?
I am actually the owner of the former Hermitage Café downtown.
Oh, great.
And I think a lot of businesses are being forced out because of the COVID laws had changed. COVID did take a drain. In my case, gentrification. You know, corporations are coming in and buying out the property and forcing us out. The rent gets increased, and it changes. It will, you know, with the rent increase, that if we were to reopen, would totally change the format of the restaurant.
The Hermitage Cafe, that was, it's an overnight, it was kind of an overnight spot, right?
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And
First Avenue.
Yeah, and it had to close.
Yes, we were actually forced out because the building was sold without our acknowledgement, and we were asked to leave because we wouldn't replace the roof on it. Kind of got forced out, and now this corporation is supposedly a historic preservation group that has bought it. They cleaned it up, and I think they're even trying to rent it back out as a diner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on it.
Okay. All right, well, good. Let's talk about it. Sherry, thank you for calling in. I remember the Hermitage Cafe. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sherry, your situation, I hear what you're saying. I had frankly thought that one of the real estate companies had probably bought the property to be able to go vertical, because across the street from it are all these apartments and commercial towers and otherwise along First Avenue and surrounding that whole area as it evolves up towards the fire station and up towards the Howard School complex. But this, I mean, one of my favorite places was Rotier's. And I used to go to Hermitage when I was younger, you know, and would get off work and late hours, and there's not much else to do other than go out. And you know, these things are sad, because when you have the price of real estate driving leases up because the dirt is worth more than the buildings, and that's happened case after case in Nashville in our lifetime because of market forces that are beyond most restaurateurs' control. You know, I lease Midtown Café, and one of the things I want to do is acquire an option to purchase, because my landlord is a little bit older than I am. I won't go into the circumstances, but I'd like to at least be able to have myself or my estate, for my 2 boys, 14 and 8, be able to have an option of buying that property which is much more expensive now than ever before. And part of that is because I've generated enough revenue out of there with good food and good service that it's worth a lot more because it generates a lot more rent. I just paid a tremendous overage in rent for the second quarter. And the problem is the business models don't always work once you get I don't know how these restaurants on the West End could pay $50 or $60 a square foot plus common area maintenance fees in buildings, in commercial buildings or otherwise, much less what the rents are probably in the 5th and Broadway or downtown. That has driven a lot of things out. Now, the idea that they are going to redo it as a diner, maybe short term. I'm betting that that will just be on a short-term lease, and somebody's going to wind up going vertical there because there are a lot of 15, 20, and 30-story, towers going up, within blocks of there now.
All right, we have several calls. Sam, others, hold on the line. Yeah, I forgot about Rotiers. That's tough.
That was one of my favorite places. Ms. Rotier, Johnny, and Emmy, and everybody were just,
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. More of our discussion right after this.